Today, Vince Vaughn parties with Ellen.
Bring me the deep dish pizza. Let's do this thing.
The star of Fred Claus can Jingle Bell Rock, but can he name this tune?
I have no idea what it is.
Plus, one lucky viewer
I've been a fan of yours since your 80s mullet days.
Oh.
gets the surprise of her life and 2 words, cash grab.
This is how I keep my money at home. It takes a burglar a lot longer to get it.
An all-new Ellen starts now.
Okay. Look at this. See this woman right here?
Yeah.
Okay, that's Josephine. Josephine is having a hard time. She's in debt, and she's just having a hard time.
Right.
And we're going to play a game with her. That's Allie, the next one. Wait, I'll go back to Allie in a minute.
This one's Josephine
That's
here.
Josephine.
The other one's Allie.
There's Allie.
Right.
She's having a hard time, too. She's a single mom, got a baby, you know, like hard times, right?
They're having a good time today, though, which is nice to see.
Today they're having a good time, but when they go home, not so good.
Right.
So we are going to play a game with them, you and I.
Okay.
They think they're winning TiVos, but it's going to be so much more than that, because it's No Way November. What?
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
Let's what them.
Yeah.
With some good news.
Let's what them with
I'm
some
excited.
good news. All right, we're going to do it. Very tall man, handsome. I should add more adjectives. That takes up time. Very handsome, tall, funny, and wonderful human being, and single. Single. Woman who knows that he's single. Well, ask him if he's single. I have no idea. He may not be single, but he may be, and then he may not be. How much time now, Mary? Blockbusters is Old School and Wedding Crashers starting today. You can see him in the new holiday film Fred Claus. Please welcome back the always funny Vince Vaughn. You're a good dancer. I happen to know. You did it just as a tease, but you're a good dancer.
That's nice to say. Sometimes I like to give just a little pink spoon, not the whole sundae. Just a little dance and save some for later.
For later.
How are you? Good to see you guys.
Good to see you, and you look great.
Thank you. I quit smoking once again, so that's good. The weight keeps. Thank you.
So, you know, you talk about deep dish. That's your hometown of Chicago, right?
Yes.
And you love Chicago.
I love Chicago, from the Midwest. And I grew up actually in the suburbs. I grew up in a town called Buffalo Grove, and then a town called Lake Forest.
Now, how big are those 2 towns?
Lake Forest was about 16,000 people when I grew up. It was a little like Footloose. It's a great town, but we didn't have cable until 1990, so I lived for Friday night videos. Remember, like everyone else had MTV?
Right.
I couldn't keep up with what was going on. But on Friday night, I could look into the window and see what the kids were dancing to. And then the other thing with the town was, we didn't have a fast food restaurant until like 1982. And then when they built it, you would never even know. It looked like an upscale pancake house. It didn't look like a fast food joint.
Right.
And then the other thing was, you were not allowed to ride your bikes. This is a big federal offense. You were not allowed to ride your bicycle in downtown Lake Forest. They were nervous that perhaps a senior or a toddler would be stepping out of a mom and pop shop.
Wow.
And maybe the Vaughninator with the flag on the Huffy bike would be paling down the street, and you could have a collision. I didn't think that was possible. You're only going like 5 miles an hour.
Right.
So I would continue to ride my bike in the uptown area. They then got what we referred to as the bike police. They got a man and a woman who wore helmets. We didn't wear helmets back then, riding bicycle, but the bike police did. They had helmets on. And if they saw you, they would give a wave for you to stop. But if I stopped, they would come to me and give me a ticket.
Sure.
That's not going to happen.
You're not going to stop?
No. I kept going.
Yeah.
And then what I realized is the bike police were not allowed to engage in a hot pursuit. They would not break the law to stop you from breaking the law.
Oh, wow.
So if I continued to ride, they wouldn't like get on and chase me down.
Yeah.
They would walk with the bike in their hand at a brisk pace, but they wouldn't get on and ride. So it was like,
wait, they had a bike, but they couldn't get on it?
if you weren't allowed to ride bikes uptown.
But why would they have a bike?
Because if they were there and then they got outside of the town limit, then they would
Then they
come
could get
after
you.
you. Right. But they were just kind of, I think they got to work riding. For some reason, they were the bike police, and the theme was they had bikes. It was, I don't understand it. But they did have radios. So they would radio in if there was any police in the area.
Somebody
we got a
outside
problem.
of it.
Yeah, someone's on a bike and they're not stopping for us. Let's take this 12-year-old down.
Yeah.
So they would call into the squad cars. It was a very exciting time. It was like the Dukes of Hazzard and Mayberry all into one. It's a magical time and a magical place.
Well, it does sound like a sweet little town. We're doing this contest, Wish You Were Here, and we're going to go visit different people's hometowns, and that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. And I love Chicago.
It is a great city.
And so tell me, in those places that you lived, did you have other jobs or just all things like...
The job I had after that was I became a lifeguard at the local YMCA.
Oh, that's good.
That seemed like a good job because I didn't have to do a lot at first. But really you did. I was always nervous because at the public pool like that, there's tons of people and a lot of age range. So I would always organize all the kids and play games with them so I could keep an eye on them. Because these kids would wrestle, you don't know what's happening. So I'd get them all lined up on the diving board and I'd say, okay, do you want to jump 5 or 10? And then I'd throw the ring, but I could keep them organized. And it was not a lot of activity, nothing ever exciting happened. But one day, the woman that I worked for, her name was Sharon, and she fired me, and she should have because I was late a lot. But in the good times when I was there, she was talking to me about like my schedule, and there was a grandmother in the shallow end of the pool with some of her grandkids. She had things on both arms, the floaties or the flippies.
Oh.
She was loaded with flippies and floaties on either arm. She was a large woman. She was a big woman. Looked like she quit smoking a few times. And they referred to her, the grandkids referred to her as Babushka. I don't know where that's from. I'm guessing some Eastern European place, right? But Babushka was the name of affection that was tossed around between this grandparent and her grandchildren and what was happening. And that was fine. It was happening. It was good times. I'm talking to Sharon. She started to slowly drift from the shallow end more and more.
Babushka did?
Babushka did.
Oh.
To the deep end of the pool. So it was like this, and the water began to rise. But she got the flippies on.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I got full-on eye contact with Babushka. She's not breaking the gaze. And a smile comes across her face, and she's a little bit uncomfortable, and the water level's rising like this. And I start smiling back. I don't know what's happening. Sharon says, I think she needs you. I don't think she can control herself, and she's getting deeper than she wants to. You need to go in. I was like Hasselhoff in that moment. I got out of my chair. I'm in the water. I take Babushka. I slide her 10 feet over to the shallow end. My work here is done. I'm like the Lone Ranger. I don't need to thank you. Right? I get out of the pool. I come back to Sharon, and she looks at me real serious. She goes, well, glad you got that out of the way. Congrats on your first save. And so in my mind, I kind of thought like, wow, I kind of did have my first save until I went home and I told my dad, Vaughn, the story. He's like, that's not a save. You dragged a older grandmother 10 feet to the shallow end. That's not like technically, you didn't save anyone. And then I kind of realized I didn't save anyone.
Right.
But I'd like to think on some level maybe things could have gotten worse for Babushka
Sure they
if I
could
didn't
have.
drag her over.
She was going down. You'd saved that woman's life.
That's right.
Yeah, don't let Vernon tell you otherwise.
Yeah. You know what, Dad, I love you, but sometimes you can be tough on this old guy.
Yeah, that's right. But look what you've accomplished.
That's right.
All right, we have to. We're gonna go to a break, and we're gonna talk about Fred Claus, your new movie. After this, we'll be right back. Well, I think Vince has something to give you that would probably help you out.
I do. It starts with a hug. Come here.
Oh.